Right, so this is part 4 of my code recap videos. This one I'll be covering collectibles and enemies that deal damage. These are odd groupings, but they're not at the same time. They might seem odd on the surface, but my collectibles change my player health, and my obstacles and enemies take away player health. So they are linked. So for my collectibles, I have 3. I have a jungle fruit, which is like a blue pear that I've made that adds to the player current health. I have a coin, which adds to the player maximum health. And then I have a special jungle fruit, or jungle fruit max, which essentially repairs the player to full health, to maximum health. So for the coin, this is the coin which increases the maximum health. It is a custom event. They're all custom events. This is a max boost input. It adds to my maximum health for my player, which I've simply got the variable there, and then add them together, and then I set the max health. That max health is then there, so that max boost for that is 20. So this is in my coin blueprint. So on the begin overlap of the trigger box of the coin, I cast to the player, put in other actor as the object for the cast. I then call upon the custom event of max health system, and I set that max boost as 20, and then destroy the actor, and I play the sound. Destroying the actor removes it from the scene once it's been collected, and the sound is just to alert the player that it has been collected. Same with the jungle fruit. It's almost identical code just with a different sound at the end. My max jungle fruit is essentially the same, where there it is, but it just gets the maximum health and sets that as what the health boost is. Just that one extra step means that my current health will never exceed my maximum health value, and it will always go to whatever the maximum health is. This means that if I collect a bunch of coins and I get my max health to 250, one maximum jungle fruit will heal it all the way to 250, not less or not more. Now, so that is the collectible system and the health. That is a really, really easy system to get, and it makes the game feel a lot better and a lot more fun because there's power-ups which can influence the character and the way that the player plays the game, because if they have more health, they'll take more risks. Now for damage dealers and obstacles, I have 2. So I have a static damage dealer, and I also have a moving obstacle. This static damage dealer, this isn't the right one. Sorry, 2 seconds. Here it is. So I have an enemy, a damage dealer, which is spikes, and then moving obstacle. The moving obstacle simply moves left and right. So here is the moving obstacle. So the event graph is also extremely simple. So I'm going to, on event begin play, locate the actor in the scene. This one's called Smiley because I forgot to change the name. And then going to get the actor location. That return value will be the vector location of locate Smiley. And then going to create a timeline. Timelines allow for movement of a sprite over a period of time. So if I go into the timeline, because it's moving left and right, I'm going to have it on the x-axis. So you want to lock the y and the z axis. Y is forwards and backwards, in the sense that forwards is the way the player camera is looking, and backwards is towards the camera, so it's pushing it further and closer to the camera. The Z axis is up and down. So for this, it's really simple. I have it over a period of 12 seconds, and it goes up to a value of 225. This allows the platform to move at quite a smooth rate, and isn't too fast for the player to not be able to jump on, but it's also fast enough that the player does not get bored whilst playing. To make a new node, you simply press Shift and left click. See, I've just made a new node, and to get the curve smooth, highlight all of them using Control, right click, and then press Auto. See how that's just changed it because I forgot to do it originally. And that will now be a smoother movement path. So it starts off with 0 velocity. It slowly builds up. Its maximum velocity is halfway through its timeline, and then after halfway, it slowly starts slowing down until it reaches 0 again, and then we have this little icon, this little toggle, clicked, so it infinitely loops, so it moves backwards and forwards, left and right. If you didn't have it loop, it would simply just move to the left or move to the right, depending on what. If you want it to move to the left first, you're going to have negative values, so it would be negative 225 if you want it to move to the left. If you want it to move to the right, then it's positive. You could do the exact same thing for a vertical moving object, but you would just have it on the Z axis rather than the X. Now, for the damage dealer for spikes, it's quite simple, but it's not as simple as it may seem on the very surface. So this is another one where it's a trigger box around my sprite. On the component begin overlap, so once the player overlaps the trigger box, you're going to cast to the side scroller character, again using the other actor as the object. As the side scroller character, you're going to get current health minus 1000, because that's how much damage I want my spikes to do. This just covers the absolute maximum amount of health that the player could have. I could do it as more than that. I could set it as the maximum health, but if I ever make a level where the player health does exceed 1000, I want the player to be rewarded with that sense of security that they don't have to fall. It's not an instant kill if they land on the spikes. So after casting, you're going to do once, so it only applies this damage once and does not repeat damaging. You're going to set the current health. The target is the side scroller character, and then the custom event that we made for the health system damage is there. And then you're going to put that into a delay. After the delay, it's then going to reset. That do once might not be necessary for an instant kill object like these spikes, but this allows me to duplicate this and use this as the parent class, and then change the value of the damage that it does. Now for my enemy shoots the player. So for the enemy health, first of all, so we can shoot the enemy and we can kill the enemy, it's another custom event, damage enemy. So this has one input, which is damage in, which is the amount of damage the player inflicts to the enemy. So the damage in is is minused from the enemy health, which is a variable that I've declared over here. The health of 1, because 1 is also 100 in Unreal. So once it's minused and subtracted, I then set the health variable again. If it's less than or equal to 0, you kill the enemy and destroy it. I don't have a death animation for the enemy, but this is where I would, in between there, I would put that. And again, if it got damaged, I'd put it off the false. I'd have a damaged animation. Now for shooting the player, it's also actually quite simple. So this allows the enemy to just constantly shoot. So it goes off the event tick and then it delays the event tick for every 1 second. So every 1 second the enemy will shoot. Then going to spawn actor enemy shot again. So I have a player shot and enemy shot. You then off the spawn transform, you're going to get world transform, and then the target is the arrow. The arrow is on the viewport. This is where you want the shooting to come out of on your player sprite or your sprite. And that is a really simple rundown of collectibles and collectibles and damage dealers.